An NBA head coach was fired after leading his team to the most wins in franchise history just a year ago. The Warriors dynasty is on life support, and Ja Morant, that man was back wilding on Instagram Live. Let's take a look back at the weekend that was in sports. Let's go. Welcome into the last weekend in sports, everybody. It's your boy, Scott Procter, your Monday morning quarterback. Before we get into today's episode, though, make sure you drop a like, make sure you comment and subscribe, and stay tuned to the end to find out who I award the weekend warrior. But let's start right here with the Phoenix Suns, who were blown out in an elimination game for the second straight postseason. And after last week's 25-point loss to the Denver Nuggets, Monty Williams was fired as the Suns head coach on Saturday after 4 seasons in Phoenix. It's yet just another example of the pressure that comes with success in coaching superstars like Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Let's look back, though, because the Suns were a laughingstock before Monty arrived in Phoenix. And the season before he took over the Suns, they were just 19-63, one of the absolute worst teams in the NBA. Fast forward just 2 seasons from there, and the Suns, they win 51 games and make the NBA Finals in Monty Williams' second season as head coach, before obviously last season winning a franchise record 64 games. But you just can't get embarrassed in elimination games in back-to-back years to end your season, which is what happened with Monty Williams and the Suns. And also, there's new ownership in Matt Ishbia, who he just not playing around. He immediately traded for KD after taking over ownership of the team. And that man, he wants to win right now. Not later, right now. But perhaps the biggest reason for Monty Williams firing is the Coach of the Year curse. They will be here. 4 of the last 5 winners of the Coach of the Year award, they've been fired. If I was an NBA head coach, I'd want nothing more than to stay far away from that award. Knicks head coach Tom Thibodeau is the only one left, but I mean, is he next after the Knicks kind of faltered in round 2 here this season? Or will it be Mike Brown, who just was awarded that award this season? What if the Kings don't get past the first round next year after showing some real promise this year, pushing Golden State to 7 games in the first round? Pressure will mount on Mike Brown if that isn't the case, if the Kings don't improve next season. But speaking of pressure, Ja Morant, Memphis Grizzlies, and really the NBA as a whole are under a lot of pressure after the star guard's actions over the weekend. Morant, he was suspended over the weekend after a video circulated of him flashing a gun on Instagram Live again. Yes, again. It came just 2 months after the NBA suspended Ja for 8 games. In March, the video surfaced of him holding a gun at a Denver club when the Grizzlies were in town to play the Nuggets. Talk about priorities, right? But the NBA is reportedly not going to take this one lightly this time around. And a suspension of at least 20 games reportedly is likely for Ja to start next season. But for the Grizzlies, their fans, and the NBA in general, this just sucks. If I could give one piece of advice to Ja, and that man, he don't need to be listening to me for sure. But if I could, it would simply be to just stop listening to NBA YoungBoy, man. Clearly, YoungBoy does something to Ja's spirit where he got to act like a completely different person. And I get it, because YoungBoy turned me up too, man. You put some YoungBoy in my ear, I might act a little different too. But in all seriousness, man, my advice to Ja, I mean, it's not that he should take it like I said, but it would just be to act like a franchise quarterback. Obviously, 2 different sports here. And obviously, I've never been the face of a franchise, but I have been the face of a program, as my days as a college quarterback. And, when you're the face of a program, all eyes are on you. You have to watch what you do and say at all times. Stuff like this for Ja, not only does it make him look bad, it makes his coaches look bad. It makes his teammates, family, friends, they look bad, and they don't deserve that. Ja has to realize that, his actions, they can affect other people. Taylor Jenkins, head coach of the Grizzlies, he could be out of a job because of this. We just talked about Monty Williams failing in the postseason. Ja Morant's antics have obviously affected Memphis on the court, at least a little bit. That stuff can get Taylor Jenkins fired. I also think about Desmond Bane, Defensive Player of the Year, Jaren Jackson Jr. Do you think they want to stay in Memphis long-term with Ja as their leader? I'm not sure. It's just something to think about. But moving on here to the Golden State Warriors, man. Their title defense ended over the weekend at the hands of old man LeBron James and the 7-seeded Lakers, leaving much of Golden State's future in question. Let's hear what Draymond Green had to say about the Warriors' dynasty is over narrative. Quote, A lot of people saying the Warriors dynasty are over, which are the same people that said it was over in 2019 when KD left. 4 years later, they're still saying it's over. Great. They're always wrong. It's not. Pay attention to who the people are saying the dynasty is over. It's always the people who never really been a part of a dynasty. Well, Draymond, me personally, I've never been a part of a dynasty, but you are right about one thing in particular that you said there, and it's the fact that many people did think that the Warriors' big three of Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, they were done winning titles when Kevin Durant left Golden State, and they were wrong. Those people were wrong, obviously, since that group was able to get their fourth ring with a championship last season. But per usual, as always, things change. Steph is still a top 5 player, but he's 35 years old. Klay still led the NBA in made threes this season, but he'll be 34 next season and expected to take a pay cut after struggling in the Lakers series, going, I believe, a 3-19 from the field in the closeout game. And most importantly, Draymond himself, he again made an all-defensive team this season, but his future in Golden State is up in the air. He has a $27 million player option for next season, but with the Warriors already strapped up against the luxury tax, the Warriors intend to negotiate a cheaper contract for Draymond Green. But if that doesn't go smoothly, Draymond will be a high priority for a handful of playoff teams, and the Warriors don't want to see him elsewhere, whether people realize it or not. And it took me a while personally to realize it. As great as Steph Curry is, as great as Klay Thompson is, Draymond Green has been the heartbeat of this dynasty. Just look at what happened when he was suspended during the 2016 NBA Finals. The Warriors might have 5 rings right now if that didn't happen. But everything he does on both ends makes his teammates better. Obviously has made this team elite over the last few years. But so here's how it goes. If Draymond stays in Golden State and Jordan Poole reverts to last season's Jordan Poole, then the dynasty stays alive. But if Draymond Green is also next season, I think it's safe to say the Warriors dynasty is over. And I think my man's Draymond, I think he'd agree with me on that. But from the Warriors to my weekend warrior, hey, listen, Jayson Tatum told the world after Game 6 of the Eastern Conference semifinals that humbly, he's one of the greatest basketball players in the world. And over the weekend, that man right there proved it. He broke Steph Curry's about 2-week-old record for the most points scored in Game 7 history by dropping 51 on the head of Joel Embiid in the Philadelphia 76ers to send them home packing. But what makes that performance more special is what Tatum did just a couple days before. That man stunk up the place, stunk up the joint in Philadelphia, missing 14 of his first 15 shots of the game before coming alive a little bit in the fourth quarter to help Boston force a Game 7. He followed that up with probably the best game of his life on Sunday. In a game, the Celtics, they needed to save their season. So for that reason right there, Jayson Tatum, you're my weekend warrior. But that's going to do it for us for this episode of Last Weekend in Sports. As always, make sure you drop a like, make sure you comment and subscribe, and stay tuned because later today on Procter's Point of View, we're going to be talking some Tennessee Titans football. But until then, for your boy Scott Procter, your Monday morning quarterback, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out our other videos and don't forget to smack that subscribe button down below while you're at it. Also, for more great and original content, head right over to bvmsports.com.